Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more from the break, very brief as it was. And Dexatron, we just finished with some stellar action from the South America Master region, but now we're taking a bit of a shift here as we're going to North America for their expert division right now. Those top 16 teams are going at it currently in the first round of the playoffs, and the game that we have decided on is the non-trademarked New York Giants going up against Yozakura, who previously deadlocked but got picked up by the soccer organization as of today publicly. So obviously congrats to them. Clearly a lot of faith in the squad to do some great things. But between these squads respectively, Giants currently that 5th seed. I'm gonna keep messing up saying it. Yozakura is currently that 12th seed overall, as we're going to cover pretty quickly to figure out our scenario here. But, I mean, we haven't been able to see a ton from both of these squads. We did get some early looks from the Expert Division earlier on, but for both these teams, we know they've had a great season so far.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you're in the playoffs. You've made it here. You've had a good season. Ups and downs are bound to happen, but you're here now. Everyone's record is 0-0, and you're only looking to win the next map. I think that's a mindset for every team here. But, I mean, these two teams, it's not like they haven't been streamed. I mean, there's a lot of people who do stream this expert division, Bullskunk being one of them. Bullskunk also streaming this one here tonight, so
hi,
that's
Bullskunk.
probably on us. Yeah, hi, Bullskunk. But I mean, a lot of great action does happen down here in the expert tier, especially because I mean there is promotion and relegation games now for this tier going into Masters, which is great. And these teams all vying for spots, but it looks like we already know one of the bans for our first map of Oasis. Hunter, it's gonna be the Brig.
Yeah, again, not the most common first ban out the gate here, but with it being Oasis, one of the things you are going to worry about is the Brig Juno lineup that was very commonly brought up as of Juno kind of being brought into the game. It just started to pair together super well, and I think to this day, it still goes together super well. So I am curious to see how that's going to pan out, as obviously we'll have to wait for the second ban to be seen after both teams have figured out their rosters and gotten everything in place. But obviously gonna have to ban either a tank or a DPS in this category, and it seems more often than not we see the tank banned out in this kind of situation. Oh, what?
I mean, I would say that in the past. But especially in NA, every tier seems like they're focusing more in on DPS as well. And yeah, just to tell everyone what the ban was, because Hunter's reaction really does say it, it's Symmetra. And that kind of tells you something here a little bit. Freya normally would be a safe ban, maybe Cass, Soj, Tracer, Sombra. I mean, the list could go on. Symmetra, though, I mean, Hunter, we saw what Symmetra was able to do in South America. And we definitely have saw what Symmetra was able to do in OWCS, both in EMEA and NA. So again, Symmetra's starting to come into meta a little bit, which is very, very interesting for a character that has never necessarily been in that spot.
I mean, yeah, 100%. As we're just waiting on a couple numbers to get into this so we can start going on this match. But you know, obviously still hanging around. Also, that's cool. I see Mott down in there too. Mott might be doing something as well, or spectating. You know, that's cool. That's cool. Hi, Mott. If you can hear us, hello.
Probably not, but hey, the more the merrier.
Exactly. Gotta have a whole party here. You know, at the end of the day, it's essentially you know. It should hopefully be a good match overall. I mean, obviously Giants have been really good throughout the season, getting that 5th seed overall. I would have to double check how many games they've lost, but I believe it was only 3, if I'm not mistaken. I'm obviously going to double check myself since I'm a professional. They did lose 5 games overall because Nightmare Rotation kind of dominated in terms of standing. Only ended up losing 1 game throughout their entire run.
Yeah, Nightmare Rotation, I mean, they dropped down from Masters into the Expert Division because they kind of blew up about halfway through the Masters season in Stage 1. And I don't think that's necessarily a surprise to see them at the top, but, I mean, the fact that they've lost 1 game does show you that there's at least one team and probably some other teams here in this tier that can really give them a run for their money. So I wouldn't necessarily be locking them into a spot just yet, but let's focus back in on this game. Like you said, the New York Giants, please don't sue them, coming in as the 5 seed, and Yozakura coming in as the 12 seed. Hunter, I mean, especially after what we saw in the South American region, granted, there's only 4 teams in that playoff, but we saw an upset happen there between a team that we thought could potentially make it interesting, they dominated that series throughout. Now we come in here, Yozakura, they might be able to make the same amount of noise here because this expert division has had a lot of good teams here have struggles throughout this regular season.
Yeah, that's kind of been the name of the game, is that scenario of struggle. And when you are able to go up against as many teams as, you know, you are in this division, you are going to be met with struggles. I mean, hell, even though New York Giants, you know, they are the higher seed overall, these teams obviously played each other recently. Or not, actually, it was kind of recently. It was only a few weeks back, but Yozakura ended up actually winning 3-1 in that situation, so clearly have proven that they have the ability to punch up in a situation like this. But don't get it twisted, being in the top 16 is impressive because going back through, I think there was something like 30-some or 40 teams within the division itself, so being in the top 16 is definitely a merit.
Hey, and like I said at the start, you're in the top 16. Every record is 0-0 from here on out. You cannot. The only thing you can't do is lose twice. And now we come into this one here. Very different kind of compositions coming out here. Both want to play fast, but you do see the Giants coming out with Mookie on the BAP. I like this a little bit better, especially because they have Droid there on the Orisa and Wavy. We saw a cast take over the game last series in South America. Hey, we could be saying the same thing here again.
Yeah, we 100% could right now as the point has unlocked to get things started. It looks like it is going to be securely in control of the Giants as Senator Slime, unfortunately, not going to be able to get out, but Mech is managing to find one on the way out, but honestly, it might be a bit of a struggle to get out as they're kind of just hanging up on the high ground right now.
They're actually going to force both Gloomy and Droid to go up there, which I think would have helped them out if the rest of their team was there at the same time, because they could try to play or drag the fight to point very quickly and left Droid in a really awkward spot, but it doesn't really affect either team here. Now, though, if you're Yuza, you're just looking for something here, and you can't have Senator Slime focus in on Droid. You really need them to go after someone like Mookie, someone like Gloomy. Mookie would probably be your one to go after, but Wavy, not a bad option as well.
Yeah, not bad at all. Wavy definitely had some impact within that first fight as Senator Slime decides, you know what, don't really want to deal with that anymore. And honestly, fair choice all things considered, as Senator Slime going to go for the backline. Unfortunately, doesn't quite make the plunges they would have hoped. End up getting speared away, or getting drilled into, and eventually going to be deleted. It's so hard to get rid of Droid in that situation. Nice spear, able to help get rid of Mimi Cutie, and now it's going to be another reset as the Giants, while they do end up losing another person near the end right there, this fight, again, decisively in their favor. And Ultimate's coming up online for both sides.
And if you're Gloomy, you're doing the right thing right now. You're going to taxi Mookie back into this fight very quickly, because you look at the other side. Kitsunori's ready to go. Poke's making a swap over to the Tracer. I like this pick for them a little bit better than the Genji they were playing before. I just think Tracer, because of 6 damage per shot, is in a little bit of a better spot than the Genji is at the moment, especially cleaning up someone like Mookie, someone like Gloomy, or just getting a good amount of damage in the Droid. The Tracer is the better pick here.
Yeah, it really is. And now Pulse Bomb online for EXO. One good stick could honestly end this round if it hits in the right place at the right time, but Mookie currently using their own. His cleanse has been activated. Senator Slime has already been taken care of, and Wavy decided, you know what, we wanted to make this a quick round one, and ladies and gentlemen, that is likely what it's going to be. K-Queen comes in and use that considering rush, but again, Wavy finds another pick. It's just Pokes hanging around, does manage to get one, unfortunately, doesn't make it back, as that's 100-0 to get us started.
And, I mean, I think my favorite play there at the end was actually Droid spear spinning, spear spinning Senator Slime back in front of that amp matrix. Yeah. They couldn't do anything, and they just had to slowly watch as they inch closer and closer back to the amp and just die. So you immediately see Senator Slime go over to the Orisa, and in that kind of battle with Orisa going up against a Hazard, your Hazard needs to be taking a lot of attention away from the rest of the enemy team, allowing that DPS line to go in. We just weren't seeing that at all there from Yuza. Now, though, I mean, with having the Orisa via Orisa mirror is really fun to watch, because it really all comes down to who uses Fortify first. Yeah, Spear Spin is there, but Fortify is the stronger of the two abilities, in my opinion. So once you get rid of Fortify, you're going to see a dive and collapse in onto that opposing Orisa. It just really comes down to how in sync are your DPS with the rest of your team. And Cake Queen over onto the BAP as well. They just want to mirror, it seems.
Yeah, 100% right now, as just kind of rallying for that position on that higher, and eventually you're going to see the drop there from a Senator Slime, trying to go into Droid, force out a bunch of those cooldowns. Unfortunately, Pokes is getting the better of everybody right now. Gloomy and EXO being taken care of, and while Droid is in a bit of a rough scenario, eventually going to be pushed back further and further as first fight this time going to go to Yozakura.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, Yoza starting off exactly like how they want to, and Poke's finding a lot more value on this map because they found value inside the small rooms where Genji just will do that. And they found three picks there, finding Droid out late. I mean, already look at the differences in ultimate economy right now. Yeah, Mookie's gonna have Ant Matrix here, but that's easily kiteable, especially with how we saw where they used it last point. They needed a lot of help from the rest of their team to find out any value from it.
Yeah, now with that spear out, we're going to see a activation from Mookie here, and Wavy somehow ends up going down first and foremost. Mech, he's peeking their head, but will stay alive. As this is going to be a really rough one to pull back, and Mimikyu is just in the wrong place at the wrong time, gets taken out back into a 4v4 situation where both things trying to use their cooldowns effectively. Center Slime, though, eventually gets deleted as Pokes trying to keep things alive for their squad, as Mech running back and forth as Pokes hoping to catch out somebody here, does get out another, and eventually with the Ant Matrix being used, this should be Yozakura, I would imagine, clear things out, but Giant's still in it.
Talk about someone who had a little bit of a struggle last point with Pokes. Going back over to the Genji, I mean, finding so much value with it now that the Giants are looking for just answers. Droid getting melted down, has to get speed boosted out, but Hunter, at this point, the Giants seem like they're just kind of lost. They're stuck. Terror Surge out here from Senator.
Senator does get a bunch of damage off of it. No one down quite yet, but it looks like it might eventually cause a death toll for this fight. It's 80% counting. I mean, the Giants have no choice but to take a reset for one more fight.
And honestly, I mean, if it really just came down to the fact that Senator Slime was not mirroring the Orisa on the first point, the Giants just need to figure something out here. Deadeye coming out, just looking like it's going to be zoning, but I mean, you really need to find a pick with it, and you're just not going to be able to.
No, you try to get everything out of Senator Slime, who literally is having everything thrown at them, gets booped back in. They wanted his Senator Slime dead with a passion, and it's going to work out as eventually they're going to take back over at that 99%. Mech killed last. Bright side, though, is that you managed to hold on to 3 ultimates if you're Yozakura.
Yeah, but you're still walking into a beat and an Ant Matrix from the other side. Mookie should be able to build it up there. But again, another nice team play coming out there from Giants just to make sure they found some picks for that Terror Surge. Gloomy came in and got rid of the Immortality Field that Queen threw down. And if they don't get rid of that Immortality Field, everyone lives there for Yuza and probably ends up winning that fight with the ultimates that they have here. But now, a Beat Blade combo is going to be really difficult for the Giants to stop.
Yep, this beat may be really important for Gloomy as well, as trying to find something with this Deadeye. Unfortunately, does not manage to hold on to it, and Matrix has been used Center Slime in a bit of a rough scenario. His Blade is going to be activated, but the beat there to react directly afterwards right now, but it's going much in their favor. Regardless, it's just Droid and Mookie alive. Unfortunately, that is not going to be enough to pull this one back, so we will end up going to that 3rd round, and it feels like kind of a scenario of what we saw before with Factor X in Elements, where it felt like it was such a strong start, but now starting to pull back the other way.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make changes, and you have to make changes at the right time, and Giants, they were just kind of stuck in their ways there. I think they need to try to just change something up here going into University, where, I mean, yeah, Orisa does find value. Same thing with Lucio. You could be looking for environmental kills here, especially if you're going to try to play on high ground, but I think both teams are smart enough not to necessarily be baited into that. But, I mean, I'm just trying to, like, the biggest difference there, like I said throughout that point, was Pokes on the Genji. They just found value where on the first point, they just struggled with anything. And you would really think Genji on the first point, because of all the climbable walls, would be able to do so much more, but EXO and Wavy were just shutting them down. I think that was also a big factor in what happened with the Giants that last round. Wavy was always being the first one caught out. It seems like Yoza knows who they need to get rid of first.
Yeah, 100%. As first fight, already kind of online. Both teams kind of rallying for their own position. As we see, there's a little bit more comfortability from Yozakura kind of hang out on their own side and wait for the situation to develop as they'll take presence over onto the point. But Droid and squad eventually going to force their way on as well. But next, at the end of the day, this war of attrition has to come to an end. Wavy or Mech are eventually going to find somebody out in the wrong place at the wrong time. But Droid is nearly ready to flip this over. Senator Slime has to force themselves onto the point, and it's just taking hit after hit. And with the Immortality Field out and Pokes down, unfortunately, for Yozakura, not looking great.
Yeah, and at this point right now, if you're Yoza, you should just be looking for the exit, whether that be by running or by what seems to be the preferred way for them right now, death. So just fall back, regroup here. No changes need to be made, but I mean, they got rid of pokes. I mean, Giants got rid of pokes early on, and that's exactly what they need to do. Pokes trying to just harass that backline. But one thing that I've been really impressed with so far, at least from Droid, their accuracy with the javelins. I mean, they canceled out Deadeye last round, and they got pokes into a spot where they just could not escape in that first fight. That's exactly what you want from your Orisa.
Exactly. Mookie Hair on the background right now. Pokes is to try to go for the slash right now. Is forcing out the immortality field, and a lot of pressure being thrown back towards them right now. Mimi, again, in a bit of an awkward position overall, ends up being forced around, and now everyone else going to back out over on the side of Yozakura. And now with 45% and counting, it feels like that domination we saw in that first round already.
It does, but you see Yoza coming back in the next engagement with all 5 of their ultimates, which I would not be surprised, Hunter, if we see a little bit of a dump here. 2, 3, at least 2 to start, probably followed up by a 3rd just to seal the deal, but there is the amp. Harrison's though out.
Yeah, beats are getting invested just in case. Ends up working out beautifully. Droid is out of cooldowns right now. Has all the health in the world trying to be thrown their way. But they are literally being bullied into the corner. Will get deleted. And Milky not too far behind. Going to be a crisp 69%. Quite nice. As eventually, Yozakura will take over.
And I mean, honestly, if you're Yuza, 2 ultimates invested, perfect scenario. Best case. I mean, yeah, they're both your support limits, but I mean, you have Terror, you have Blade, you have Deadeye. You have enough ultimates there that you can rotate back to having both your support ultimates ready to go here. Gloomy, though, for the Giants. You're the only one with an ultimate ready to go here early on. Wavy should be able to build up to Deadeye, but you really need Wavy to probably find a pick before Deadeye is ready to go, but they might not have the chance.
Yeah, and you're going to see with one already down, Gloomy decides to hold onto the beat, which I think 100% is great discipline. It is the right call because now you get to go into this next fight with potentially double support ultimates.
Yeah, and we're kind of rotating back into that point where, I mean, we saw all 5 ultimates ready to go for Yoza. Now the Giants are going to have a lot of ultimates here. You just need to be smart with them. Deadeye out here from Wavy early on, though. I like that, and they might even be able to find out 1 or 2.
Yeah, Mech is in the same scenario, though. Is poking out right now. Is getting super low. And Matrix throwing in that javelin. It is more like a death spear as they're being taken care of. Everyone going to be cleared away. Senator Slime just going to try to live for as long as they can on the point. We'll get it into the 60s. Make it about 63 here as point going to flip back over. And now final fight territory here for the Giants.
And hey, you'll take those 2 ultimates that you use there for your Giants because you're about to have 3. I mean, we're in that kind of rotation right here where you really like it if you're the Giants now. You have Amp ready to go for the other side, but that's basically it. Mimi needs to build up to a beat here pretty quickly, or else the beat and Terror Surge combo from the other side is going to basically end this round. Exo, though, low early on. There's the Amp, though.
Oh, could be a bad spot. K-Queen gets taken out due to the immortality field dropping, and now the beam from Mimi Cutie. Unfortunately, it might be too little too late here as a retouch is not even available. So New York Giants gonna be moving forward in this first map. Definitely some good fight back, though, over on the side of Yozakura, but unfortunately just... I feel like once the momentum got back into the Giants' hands, it got really hard to take it back.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a tale of basically 3 points. I mean, Giants really controlled point 1 and point 3 really good, and then Yoza just looked like a completely different beast on point 2, and the Giants looked like they were lost. It really just comes down to, like, probably the points just themselves. I feel like the closer kind of quarters play style, or closer quarters point that University is, really allowed that Tracer just to have a little bit more freedom. But then at the same point, like I said, Wavy really struggled point 2, and they started to pick it back up in point 3, and there was a big difference there with the teams. And Hunter, these 2 teams are rip-roaring and ready to go already on our map number 2.
They are, but unfortunately, Dex, we are going to be experiencing the same thing we experienced last time. Because it is not just a South America issue, it is a Faceit issue. Which means this is going to be a long, long night. I'm going to... Maybe I should explain this was happening earlier. I'm gonna explain really quick. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you were here for our South America matchup a little bit ago, you might have realized it ended up being a pretty long game for only being 4 maps. That's because we had some Faceit issues where, unfortunately, the automated system was not working as it is intended to work, which is obviously going through the phasing of maps and bans, and so it sets it all up automatically to get them into one neat lobby. Unfortunately, when that automated system stops working properly, it creates a situation like this where teams kind of have to scramble around and figure out what they're going to do, as Dex is just, it's just that kind of day. It's just that kind of situation, and at this point, go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say my biggest concern is, unlike in the South American region, there was a lot of us in there.
There was, yeah.
We don't know anyone.
You know, you make a very fascinating point. It's a weird situation, isn't it? Now the bright side is we know some of the other people that were inside of it, and currently we're all hanging out in here because we know Mott and Bullskunk, I would say, pretty well at this point. But obviously we do have to kind of just wait and see what happens, because unfortunately it's going to be a scenario where a lot of these teams are going to have to go through what the South America teams had to earlier, which was having to do the games themselves, do all the map picking and band processing manually, and then submitting the results, which is what ended up happening. Because if we go and we look at the games over in South America, they're all completed now, which, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there. That doesn't sound correct. Something about that's not correct. So, just for context, talking about South America really quick, the Warfist Phoenix Rising game only has 3 maps listed and only 2 replay codes listed, and yet it says the game was a 3-2, which is interesting. I think that's a potential glitch in the system. You know, we'll find out what that means.
If it's a self-report thing, it might be the case.
Which would be enough. It'd be insane, but
it would be. But there's a couple other games now in this tier that's on hold. It still says that Giants and Deadlock or Yoza are still ongoing, but I think a lot of these teams are about to run into the situation that we're explaining here.
Yeah, so what we'll do, just for the moment, as we're kind of figuring the situation out, we'll pull out the stats for that first map, because I think it was pretty interesting overall, what we ended up seeing. I think the one thing to really know from everything we're seeing in this situation right here, I would more so pin it over onto, I mean, just the death count is something that's making a big difference out of the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that, I mean, Mimikyu going down 10 times is a really unfortunate situation. Your Lucio that helps kind of control the pace of a lot of fights. It's not somebody you want to be losing every single fight like that.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I mean, like, I've had struggles when I play Lucio, but I mean, they just seem to be getting caught out a little bit too much, and it did come back to hurt their team. I mean, 10 deaths. The next highest on their team was 7, and then I mean, the highest on the Giants was 6. I mean, it kind of does hurt you, especially when it's your Lucio, your speed, your beats. I mean, it hurt them a decent amount here, but you look at just the DPS line there for New York Giants, they really did a lot. And Wavy, 10,000 damage, almost 11,000 damage. I mean, an incredible job by them. Exo, 21 elims. I mean, doing a really good job on the Tracer. Everyone just did really good. Pokes, though, I thought was a big standout, in my opinion, for Yoza. They had the same amount of picks as Mech, but especially on that second point, Pokes was a problem for the Giants. Luckily, they figured it out by that third point.
Yeah, 100%. And so currently, the game is trying to automate and continue, which obviously teams do not want. So someone is going to have to cause a pause here, or maybe try to get an admin in here momentarily. But obviously, they say we still fine. But it is a scenario where they are probably going to have to try to custom lobby, because right now they are trying to see if they can just say, hey, just don't play these characters. But the problem is that the original characters of Orisa and Sim are still technically banned in the code, which means those wouldn't be available options either, which obviously can limit some teams. As the pause will come through, which means an admin has become present.
That's good. That is good. It's good that we're getting that here. I think we got that a little bit in South America, but I think after both games had it, they just stopped. But I mean, right now, Giants got off to a really, really good start. It took Yoza a map or a point to really get going, and then it equalized for a little bit. But Giants, I mean, like I said, Wavy finding that first pick on University really did make a big difference. I think it gave them a lot of confidence. It gave the rest of their team a lot of confidence, and they shut down Pokes early on. and pretty consistently throughout university. Which you have your player who was doing a lot for you map 1, start off hot, and you get rid of the player that was giving you a lot of problems out first. You're just gonna put yourself in a really good spot here. But I mean, Yoza coming in this one here, I mean, only mere hours ago they were picked up by Sakura, as we've mentioned here. And that shows you that they have a lot of faith in this team. The Giants, though, on the other hand, a team that, I mean, we really like the Giants. Let's just put it like that. They're a funny team.
Yeah.
But right now, playing really, really good. And that's one thing you want going into the playoffs. Because like I've stressed here, you go into the playoffs, everyone's 0-0. Records don't matter anymore. It's just you have to win and move on. The only thing you can't do is lose twice.
Yeah, that's just kind of the name of the game when you're in a situation like this. And when it's a scenario where it is a 16-team double elim format, going down early, it ends up being a slog to try to make your way back and make something happen. Because if you're to lose out in that very first round, if you want to make it back if you were to make it into the grand finals, you would have to win 6 matches straight to get there if you dropped right out the gate, which is a nearly insurmountable task to be able to pull off in that kind of situation. Obviously, it is doable. We have seen miracle runs in the lower bracket, but you don't want to have to drop down this early. But either way, we have an unpause right now going through. I don't know if the situation has been fixed, so, well, with the fact that we had another pause immediately afterwards, I'm going to say not yet.
No, it hasn't been fixed just yet, which is a little bit of a bigger problem. But I mean, when it seems like the teams are trying to get someone in because the Giants used their first pause to have the pause there. Now Yoza is using a pause, so it seems like they're trying to get this resolved. But I just don't think we know the resolution.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be told that here momentarily.
Yeah, I think they'll be figuring out shortly here that they just have to simply do a custom lobby and report scores and maps and everything like that. It's just how it goes down when these things happen. But I'm sure we'll figure that out here momentarily, just as they will. As saying, do we want to load into map and just don't cap and hang out? I mean, you could do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that if nobody caps. Dance party? I love it. Yeah, I'm still in lobby.
Oh, I saw everyone leave, so I left.
Well, we are still big chilling in here right now, but to be fair, nothing is starting. They are simply waiting for Faceit admins to come through and make something happen, because obviously things not quite going to plan right now. What we could do, some of the other matches are currently in their second map right now. So, there's some games that are still progressing forward. Just a few examples. Nightmare Rotation up 1-0 on Stargirls. Glitchmasters took the first map against Extinction Drastic. Dill Ducklings, if I'm not mistaken, ended up losing their first map to the Cafe, which is an interesting one. Dill Ducklings, one of the better teams in this division. Cross Souls and The Rock end up winning their first games against Ultimension and VYT Voidwalkers, respectively. And, yeah, it's just one of those scenarios where we're just trying to get this figured out. There's an unpause once again. I'll go ahead and cut it over just because, need to let it breathe for a moment. And there it goes.
There it is.
There we go. That's what we were waiting for. Oh, boy.
Much like a lot of the other series that are going on right now have probably been getting into. So not necessarily the biggest shock.
Yeah.
Like I said, we kind of knew this was going to happen. But it's just going to be interesting to see if they actually get a resolution to it. Because, I mean, remember, South America did get the second map to go through before they had to go and make the lobbies themselves. So it might be something where they know something, but it only maybe works once or twice and then kind of just stops after that.
Yeah, to be fair, it may be a situation with things not being automated properly for a playoff situation. That is a possibility. Obviously, we don't know for a fact. We cannot kind of only make some level of assumptions in situations like these, as we're kind of just gotta wait and see what is gonna happen while we're in this situation. But hopefully we get a resolution here pretty quickly. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, right now, we were talking about this in the South American region when we had this problem happen after map 2. when Factor X was up 2-0 in the series, how it kind of hurts them because it gets rid of all the momentum. And right now, I'm just going to bring that right back up. I think this hurts the Giants because I really do think you figured out how to slow down pokes. You are figuring out how to beat Senator Slime on the Orisa as well. And I mean, granted, while we don't know if Orisa was going to be banned out map 2, it definitely left a lot of stuff there for you guys, for the Giants to kind of keep that momentum going. You were figuring out a lot about Yoza. Now, though, with Yoza and Giants being a match that's on hold, I think that just give more time for Yoza to really talk about what they did wrong and try to improve it. And if you're the Giants, you're trying to do the exact same thing, but you won the map. But there are definitely problems because you can go back and look at that second point and just see that you were being stonewalled every time you try to do anything.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what ended up happening right now is we do have an invite. So we'll see whether or not things are working to code right now. I'm hoping
So
if we look, I'm gonna go back and look at the lobby really quick, and if things
it's
go,
not there.
Oh no, we're fine. Yeah, the new bands are in. Yeah, I think we're set.
Oh, I don't see them.
What, the invite?
No, I don't see the bands.
Oh,
Oh, there they are. Okay, Orisa and Kiri. So hey, this is what I was saying. You get rid of the Orisa now for if you're Yoza. It's exactly what you kind of wanted, honestly. Because my feeling is, even though Senator Slime did a good job on the Orisa, you didn't necessarily want that.
Yeah.
For them. You didn't really want Droid to be on the Orisa here. It looks like Kiri was the other band, which is not necessarily the biggest shock, but you see what the teams are kind of teasing us with it here. Senator Slime on the Ramatra here. Remember, they came out playing Hazard to start off last map. Didn't necessarily find any value for them. I think the Ramatra would do a little bit better. Droid, though, on the Drunk Queen. Gonna be really, really interesting because that entire composition means that you're gonna be trying to get as close to the other team as you possibly can here to do as much damage. But Mookie and Gloomy, I think we have to talk about that support line. That is a really interesting support line. Maybe some people call it a zombie comp kind of line here. You're really looking for Mookie to just be able to clean up a lot of what Droid does here. I think that's the main goal.
Yeah, that's definitely what you're hoping for in this situation right here. If you can get a good connection on that knife, if you are Droid as well, it can make one hell of a difference. Right now, ends up catching directly over on Senator Slime, who has that block, and can just kind of do anything they really want to while they're in that situation. But K-Queen has to use the Immortality Field pretty early on, as there's going to be time for the refresher to come through here. If you are the Giants, who are trying to just keep bodies on the point, bring things in their favor. With Exo going down, Droid just has to go all out on the offense here to try to find something. Unfortunately, this first fight doesn't seem to be a success.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And Kate Queen jumping on that high ground. Wavy didn't notice they were up there for about 2 seconds. That was kind of funny to watch. But I'm honestly surprised Droid... I really expect to see maybe a swap or two come out here from the Giants, but they're going to stick with the zombie comp backline. Droid, though, swapping over to a Ramatra of their own here would not be the worst thing. Honestly, I think it would work out for them really good, just having that mirror. I think right now, these two tanks, I think the mirror might be the best way to go if you're Droid, but you're really going to need to find something here with Drunk Queen early on this fight, or else you're not going to find much with it, because you're walking into an amp, a pulse bomb, and not that far away from a beat on the other side.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot that's going to be available momentarily, but with Mookie going down, might not need a whole lot of it here. As they're going to be forced back, and they're going to give up the fight because they realize they want their 5 to re-aggress.
You need Mookie. Mookie is your main source of healing. Yeah, Gloomy can do some, but Gloomy can only do so much. Mookie is a better source of healing, but right now, it's going to be a challenge just getting back to the point.
Exo should be able to realistically get a recondition here. We'll be able to do so. And if that gets rid of Poke, so now, interesting situation has come to light as Mookie is going to double down into best. Beat is activated, though, to keep people alive longer. Now both sides willing to throw out their ultimates to make it happen. Mech force back, not able to pop out their own in time. And point will flip over, as that'll be a successful fight for the Giants, as Wave is going to help clear away yet another. As at the end of the day, ends up being, actually, it's going to be a 3-3 ult economy for both sides this next fight.
Yeah, and I mean, once ultimates started to come out from the Giants, if I was Yoza, I would have honestly just let them have the point, let them have a fight, just back out, let them fade away, and then just re-engage with those ultimates there. But I mean, they basically matched ults there. You're gonna have the Annihilation come up here, but Gloomy having that beat's gonna be the big difference maker here for the Giants. Just being able to use the beats to sustain through that Annihilation. Droid having the Rampage here soon, or right now, could help him out early on.
Ooh, yeah, and Droid's already gotten 2. And that's an unfortunate scenario, but the point does slip over, and now they got to make it back in time for the touch. They will, but this is really important because this mean Pokes, who is likely going to die here, this gives everybody the ability to recontest here because they could get maybe another touch.
Yeah, but you're still holding on a beat here for Gloomy, which is the one thing I thought we would see almost immediately used when the Annihilation came out from Center Slime. But beat now in this final fight could counter out Pulse Bomb, could counter out the Overclock from Mech. I mean, you're in a good spot. If Extra could find a stick with this Pulse Bomb of their own, it could end the fight before it truly even starts.
Yeah, touch is going to come through right now to make the overtime active. Pulse Bomb has been used, and who knows if it was needed or not, but all we know is the fact that it seems to be falling all apart here. As Giants going to be hoping to close this one out, and that they indeed will do, pulling it back, taking away our first point. As we'll take a look and see where we're headed next.
A good kind of response, actually a really good response there from the Giants, because it just seemed like the zombie comp wasn't really going to work out for them, but they just needed a team fight victory. They needed to have control of the point, because you saw it there. Once they got control of the point, they were starting to play aggressively, and it just seems like Yoza just kind of struggles into that, even though they have a comp that's really resilient, especially with Center Slime on that Ramatra. I mean, Nemesis form is strong. You have Immortality Field, speed to get you out. I mean, you should be able to really deal with the zombie comp easily, but it just is the aggression level coming out here from the Giants early on, especially Droid on this Jungle Queen, is making a difference.
Yeah, 100%. You're trying to get Immortality Field out right now if you are Yosa, because you want to be able to get it out, make this Pulse Bomb be viable. But now with Gloomy going down, recontention on the point by Exo. Recall is going to get forced away as Poke's actually going to go onto there. So there's the A. Oh no, the Ajax! You can't do this, Mimi! It can't end like this.
No, and talking about someone who really needed to have a solid map after last one, that's not necessarily how you want it to go if you're Mimi. And the word to add on to it, Hunter, they hadn't capped point yet. I mean, even if they like, it would have been okay for that to happen if you had capped point. But the fact that they just didn't cap point, it hurts them so much now.
Oh, yeah, that's a devastating way to get that one rocking and rolling. But point is still takeable right now. I mean, you're gonna have the Annihilation as well as the Deadeye, but Droid, I mean, has the ability to get away, I mean, with their own ult here, and nothing can really stop it because that beat is no longer available, and they say it, so it shall appear, and Center Slime is gonna use their ult right away, but Droid has already gotten rid of Mech. They have the ability to sustain through so much due to all that overhealth they get from the bleed, and now Pokes has to try to get out. The supports, if they die late, I mean, you can forget trying to cap this point. I mean, maybe he does manage to get one, but Pokes dying that late, I think a recontestation just isn't going to happen.
Yeah, especially with right now, you see Droid and the rest of the Giants going up to basically be that offensive lineman, making sure that they're keeping that defensive lineman from getting to their quarterback, which right now, the metaphor is the point, being your quarterback, which, hey, they do a good job. And that might be the most you hear me talk about football, because I am not a Giants fan in real life. But I mean, I love how Droid's been using these rampages early on in this round. It's always been when Center Slime has used rampage, and look, Center Slime even giving up the ram here, or Annihilation giving up the ram here, going over to the Jungle Queen themselves. Samir, I thought this is what we would eventually see, but I thought it would be the Ramatra.
Yeah, Deadeye is used. Pulse comes through. Does not manage to time the stick correct or the roll correctly, but still, you manage to get rid of Droid in the process. It does seem to kind of tend to go in your way in that situation. But Gloomy willing to go in with the B, all the aggression. If they can get rid of Center Slime, it will pay off. But Mimi Cutie this time going to pull off the beat expertly, and it's going to clear out the point. And it looks like they should be able to find the initial cap here as Milky going to die down. But Center Slime, unfortunately, a little too far forward.
And Wavy coming right back in with their own overclock here. That's basically the only pick you need. Yeah, Pokes will find two, but it's not going to necessarily be enough in the end. The Venture will find those two, but, I mean, it's going to be about, what, 28%? 29. One off. But you're walking into a couple rough ultimates right now if you're Yoza here. you have another Rampage, Pulse Bomb coming over, which Exo found a stick last time, which gives me a lot of hope. But you're not that far away from your own Coalescence. I didn't even notice Cake Queen went over to the Moira as well. A straight mirror match across the board outside of Pokes and Wavy.
Yeah, isn't the most common thing in the world right now? Thunder Slime is going to barely get that overheld back right now as they're just kind of getting pelted over and over. Pulse Bomb comes out. No connection from Exo there, unfortunately, as 45% in counting, and Pokes trying to find something as well. Manages to get rid of Gloomy. Unfortunately, Wavy not me too far behind. The Venture getting expert value as they'll be able to cap it over 30% and counting, and now it's going to be an interesting fight coming up because double Queen Ultimate's online.
Double Queen, probably double Coalescence at some point. If you're Cake Queen, I mean, not using it early might not be the worst idea, especially since you can cleanse it. But there's the Rampage.
Yeah, it's 3 over there, but Droid is going to keep clearing away as Thunder Slime, unfortunately, not able to find anything with it. You're going to get a good amount of stall here, though, set up plenty of time to be able to have one more contestation, but Mech needs to get out of here alive, because if they die late, then they use the Pulse Bomb?
I understand the usage of it. I mean, if you could find one pick with it, you could help your team out a little bit. But you now kind of put yourself behind the 8 ball because you look at the other side. Mookie has Coalescence, Gloomy not that far away from Beat, and Exo a Pulse Bomb of their own. No ultimates unless Mimi can build up to their own Beat this engagement, but they need to do it very quickly, Hunter.
Yeah, they really do. Mimi needs to stay alive throughout all this right here. Mookie trying to find something, but K-Queen has already gone down. The ability to get out this Beat is just going to keep spiraling down further and further. At this point, it's not going to matter. It's a clean sweep here, 3-0 to be in their favor. And now already at match point are the Giants, as right now, I mean, Yozakura are having their moments, but the Giants just, I mean, when you really get into the thick of these fights, they cannot be stopped.
Yeah, and the biggest difference was just the Queen play. I mean, when you look at the stats after this one, there's such a big difference. I mean, they did such an incredible job right there. Most elims in the lobby, only 2 deaths. I mean, they played incredibly well. And that zombie comp backline, one that I kind of questioned going into it, if it was going to do enough, ended up being a huge difference maker. I felt like the fact that we saw Mookie building up Coalescences incredibly quickly was a huge thing for them. And just being able to clean up so many people as well. I mean, they did almost 6,000 damage, which when you look at someone like Pokes, one of the DPS on the other side, they had more damage than Pokes on the Moira.
Yeah, that's kind of ended up happening as, just going to throw out there ahead of time, just so we're all on the same page. The thing that happened last map is happening again, so it's going to be a minute. But the bright side is, in this situation, unlike what we had South America, we can actually look at stats here. So I'm going to pull them up here momentarily. So we can take a better look at them here, doing this all live, because that's the way we do it here on this stream. But here we are. Everything is set up, ready to go. And yeah, it's, again, the noticeable things that we kind of, as we see looking throughout the second round, it's kind of the deaths yet again. Again, when you lose that many fights, I mean, that's an expected number to really have here. But again, it's an impressive performance, again, from the tank side. Able to get 32 eliminations, only ended up dying twice throughout that whole map.
Yeah, I mean, they just did an incredible job. Like, it's always fun to see how much value you can get out of a Queen, especially like a really good one. And right now, New York Giants tank is showing us that. They were able to do so much. And at the same time, I mean, it's what you want your tank to be doing in Overwatch 2, finding that value by having so much attention thrown on them that it allows your DPS. Exo and Wavy really did a lot here. Exo started off slow on the Soj, but then really came alive. Exo on the Tracer did exactly what you want Tracer to do. Be annoying. Make the backline for the other team a living hell, and you saw it multiple times. Hell, they were enough of a living hell that they forced Yoza's backline to mirror what their own backline was doing. That is, I think, as a Tracer player, the best sense of accomplishment that you can do when you force the other team's backline to go to those very mobile heroes just to stay away from you.
I mean, yeah, that's an accomplishment in its own right, to force a team to change up their own comp and to kind of go into the mirror, which honestly can end one of 2 ways, with the aspect of whatever you can do, I can do better. But unfortunately, more often than not, it kind of does result in this scenario where one team is already further ahead in ult charge. They have practiced this comp a fair amount. It just enters that kind of situation where one team just has the upper edge due to the fact that they knew they were going to play this comp. They knew the fact that, hey, if they match it, we think we're the better team at it. But either way, we are quote-unquote in lobby. We're going to see whether or not we're actually going to be
It's real. It's real. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. Oh.
It's real. Orisa being banned up for the second straight map, so kind of a surprise, but Tracer being the other ban, I have to imagine Yoza is banning the Tracer, so Giants banning the Orisa. Yeah, I think, you know what, I like this from them. We saw the Orisa for them really work out map 1, but Yoza started to do a little bit better on it as the map went on. So just get rid of it here on Runasapi, where I think Orisa does find its value, but there are certainly other heroes that have more chance for value. Like, say, maybe a Junker Queen, which we saw in South America, and we're going to see here again, at least with the Giants.
Yeah, and it's not too surprising at the end of the day. I'm going to be excited to see it because we saw both Genjis get a pretty fair amount of value overall. When it came to that Genji and Pokes being on it as well, Pokes kind of showed that they know their stuff on it as well. But this is where this consistency from Yozakura needs to come through because they have definitely had their moments, especially back in that first map. But now is the time to make it happen, pull this one back because, my God, you do not want to go in that lower bracket after the first round.
No, you do not. And I mean, we've definitely seen it from Yoza that they have the capabilities to make this an interesting series, but they need to put a whole map together here. And that just needs, and they need to do it here fast. They cannot allow it to necessarily get too far away from them as the Genjis play tennis for a moment there.
Yeah, I gotta love a little tennis play here in the good old land of Overwatch. But Mimikyu getting pretty low momentarily, kind of has to play it a little safe and kind of care for their own life as Bot has unlocked. Probably getting a bit of a push from Yoza right now. Gotta see how long that's going to last as Mech just has to play a little bit carefully. They try to run down Mimikyu. Unfortunately, they will succeed in their notion as Mech gonna try to go behind, try to get rid of one. Does assassinate Wavy on the spot, but unfortunately the rest of the squad is just getting pressured in more and more, and realistically, that should conclude the first fight. And while there was a 9-meter push, it's not gonna mean much here momentarily.
No, not at all. I mean, we saw this in the South American region as well, where, you know, the one team started to get a little bit of a push, but one pick is all you really need to get going, and that's exactly what happened there. Now, though, I mean, no necessarily big swaps. Mech going over to the Cassidy here. I do like that a little bit better for them. You just want to stop EXO once they dive in that backline, or same thing with Droid. The flashbang will be able to slow them down just enough, allowing Senator Slime and Pokes to really find all the value they need to get rid of them here early on, but you need to make sure you confirm the kill. If you leave them alive, they will punish you.
100% they will in that scenario. Senator Slime is just playing careful, doesn't want to have to use the Nemesis form too early, but honestly, if you're the Giants right now, you are in no real rush at the moment right now. You're waiting for Mookie to get their ult online, but now here comes that aggression. Considering Rush is going to be activated. K-Queen hoping to find something, but Mech is the one getting kind of low as Mookie's going to fade out. Droid being down, though, means the Giants need to simply just give up this fight, escape, and try to keep all the firmware members still alive.
And they're going to be able to do that here. A really good job by the Giants getting out, but if you're the Giants, you're not mad about losing that one. You got to get Senior Rush out from the other side, which is probably going to be the one ultimate that you're kind of looking at a lot as the decider for a lot of the fights for Yoza to really take them. So that's out of the picture now. You're going to have beats. You're going to have coalescence, which we've seen Mookie in the past. Use those first, and hey, they're using it first here this time again.
Yeah, they 100% are trying to right now. Mookie is trying to find something. It is forcing bodies back, but it is under Slime who wants to go in and try to find something with this annihilation. But it's going to be Droid who's going to respond directly back to try to find something right now. While it hits a lot of bodies, the beat is there, and Mimikyu is going to help finish them around. And now, lead going to be heading over to the side of Yozu. And now, it enters an interesting scenario where they should be able to get that cap on the checkpoint as well.
They should. And Droid using the Rampage right there, that was not the best opportunity to use it.
No.
I understand what they were going for, but the beat was just a little bit too strong, and Droid Rampage at about a quarter of their health. They kind of put themselves in no man's land by being that far away because no one on their team was going to follow up. Granted, if you're Giants here, you have 3 ultimates, and you're already using your overclock.
Yeah, Mimikyu goes down. Wavy has gotten rid of 2 already, hoping to make it more. They make it the 3. They make it the 4. Do they get the ace? They won't. Gloomy Gonna take it away, but still, fantastic performance from Wavy. They're gonna take back this fight, and now just need to win another if they're gonna get that checkpoint.
Yeah, four members and probably all 5 members of Yoza. Yep, they're going to be able to get those forward spawns. Spawns reset, though. You're still holding on to a blade and a beat. You might want to go fast here. You do not want to allow Cake Queen to build up to their own Kitsune Rush, because that's what won them the first fight that got them going. It's going to win them this fight again if they do it.
Yeah, and Mimikyu gets taken right out of the air. XO just wants to say, whatever you can do, I can do better. Gloomy, again, gonna stop that from happening, but it's gonna be another successful fight. They're going to get the cap, which obviously extremely important with the beat on their side. Pokes can't do a whole lot with this blade.
No, they really can't. And I thought the Kitsune Rush was gonna be a big difference maker there. The blade, though, sometimes doesn't care. It doesn't care about what I think is going to happen here. But like you said, beat ready for Gloomy. That's going to be the thing that really keeps the Giants going here, because it's going to be a fast, but there's the beat.
Yep, it's going to force it out, and now Pokes is going to realize, hey, not going to get anything out of this. Let's just play safe. They're going to be forced back, and now Mookie is going to have their own ultimate on the line, and honestly, might use it aggressively to take back this scenario. And now, unfortunately, the Giants are going to keep pushing forward. They're going to take back this lead, and honestly, should be able to get a fair amount of distance on top of that.
And Mookie doesn't actually need to use the Coalescence here aggressively.
Yeah.
They can use it now since they have this lead a little bit defensively, passively. It's going to be a really good usage here for them, especially as your Droid is building up to Rampage. That might be when they use it, after Droid uses that Rampage, because Cake Queen can only cleanse so much.
No, 100% as Droid kind of hanging around. They know Droid is here, and obviously you don't want to mess up and be in the wrong place at the wrong time, but Mimikyu is going to have a beat ready. It's used actively, but Center Slime does not get caught with it in time, and now Mookie's going to go ahead and use their own ult, because you want to try to hold on to this Rampage if you are Droid. Find more. Pokes ends up going down, and everyone else trying to get out with their lives intact. It takes one knife to pull bodies back, though. Doesn't catch on to anybody, but the lead is just extending further and further.
And one thing here, if you are Yoza, I mean, you're slowly starting to get to that point where you, like we saw last map, where you're mirroring their comp. You're not that far away from having to do it. Deadeye, though, out from mech. One pick might be all they need to get going here again.
Yeah, but it's just really far back. But somehow Droid does go down in that whole exchange, so I mean, that fight should just be done and over with right now. Everyone's going to reset, but everyone is going to get good spawn, and they're going to this this fight with 3 ults and no beat to stop any of them.
Yeah, and the Rampage is still the biggest one here. I mean, if you can find 3-4, the cleanse from Cake Queen's only going to be able to do so much, but the Kitsune Rush might be able to help him out, just get that Suzu back faster to cleanse everyone else, but it might just be a little bit too much. Blade, though, out from Exo, looking to find the same value they did last time.
Yeah, oh, it's finding it, because why wouldn't it be? You know, they're going to clear it away. They do end up using 2 of those 3 ultimates, but at the end of the day, like we say all the time, the Giants, all they need to do is keep doing 50-50 wins, and they'll just take this away in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, and granted, that's probably not what they want to do. It always makes it a little bit too close for comfort, as we did see in the South American region.
Yep.
But just getting it back up to the barriers where you want it, you're still holding on to your overclock, not that far away from a beat, but you're walking into 3 ultimates about to be ready for the other side. So yeah, Hunter, at this moment right now, you're looking for these 50-50 fights.
Yeah, a lot of bodies being thrown in, Kitsune Rush being activated, makes it a rough scenario. Mimikyu does get rid of Exo early on here, so now everyone once again going to back out here, causing a little bit of stall as they're going to try to commit to helping Droid live right now. But it is a commitment at the end of the day from Center Slime to clear everybody away. Wavy going to die on the point, as they should, to try to get some bodies into the good spawn. And with that situation, everyone's going to get the good respawn. Yeah, everyone will
Just
get
barely.
it. Wow.
Just barely. But right now, you got both your support ultimates coming into it if you are the Giants, and 3 ultimates on the other side. Biggest one being Mimi's beat. And right now, I like what you're seeing here from Yoza. Just backing up. They're going to let the Giants take the cart, but they want to come back in and play fast here. I would not be surprised if Blade is used quickly here. But Coalescence, again, they like to go fast with that one.
Yeah, Big B comes online as well, gonna stop folks from doing what they want to do. Deadeye used on top of that, though, as Mech wants to find at least one, but everyone doing a really good job of getting away, but look at me, gets caught out in the corner. Unfortunate scenario, as everyone can be forced to try to get out or die on the cart, and it looks like dying on the cart is what is on the menu here today. Mookie, the sole survivor, as Checkpoint, gonna go back in control of Yoza.
And I mean, that 50-ish meter lead you have is quickly going to evaporate here if you're the Giants. And I mean, you have no ultimates really to go early on in this fight. Kate Queen's going to be able to build up their Kitsune Rush pretty quickly here, and they could use that aggressively. Again, though, Hunter, I don't understand why we're seeing these attacking teams that have a slight advantage just back out of an engagement.
It does tend to happen a fair amount right here, but K-Queen is more than happy to use the Consider Rush here to get them back into the situation. It's going to force bodies back, and it's going to get them closer and closer to potentially taking back that lead as ultimates are around the corner, but especially around the corner. But Center Slime going down means they don't got to use any of them to take this back.
No, they don't. At this point right now, Yoza just basically dying apart. I mean, everyone should get the forward spawns here if you're them. It's going to be a team kill, but that Kitsune Rush just need to be a little bit further up so the team could have a little bit more reach from it. I think that's what really hurt them there. Now, though, I mean, you're not that far away from Rampage and Deadeye, but you look at the other side, Rampage, Blade, Coalescence, which we know the moment Mookie gets it, they're probably mere seconds away from actually using it, and an Overclock. I mean, this could be map and round and series here, Hunter.
Oh, yeah, and EXO has just been popping off with this Blade throughout the series so far, more so, I should say, throughout the map, as they're going to be able to clear away Coalescence. Well, I won't be able to save EXO, will be able to clear the fight out as Pokes decides, you know what, I'm not dying that way, screw that. But now with 10 seconds on the board, they need a retouch.
Mimikyu is going to be the touch here, but it's going to be very difficult for them to find a lot of value with it. There's the touch. They're going to immediately go running away. There's the Overclock out, though, from Wavy.
Yeah, now Center Slime back on the Doomfist to try to make something, but Wavy is clearing house, and you know you didn't want it to be a quick one if you're a fan over here of Yozakura, but unfortunately, Mech trying to keep them alive. Pokes trying to find something with the Blade, manages to get one. Unfortunately, it's Mimikyu back onto the point, trying to survive as long as they can for Center Slime to make it back, but it's pushing forward. They are not going to get the touch in time. New York Giants are going to move on to the next round in 3-0 fashion, while Yozakura gonna have to fight for their life in the lower bracket.
Man, the Giants really kept that overtime alive there. They could have got off the cart, but they kept it alive and almost gave Yozakura what they needed to get that cart back. But just good all-around play from the New York Giants. I mean, there were times in the first map where Yoza really looked like they had it figured out. They could have come back in this one, but Saravasa, I mean, they capped the first point, got up to 99, and honestly, Hunter, after that, that was basically the best they got on that second map. Yeah, they were able to potentially make it a little bit more interesting on that third point, but just wasn't enough. And then here on Runasapi, yeah, there was back and forth moments, but the Giants were just able to come out on top in a lot of situations here. They just played a little bit of a smarter series. That's why they'll be moving on.
Yeah, 100% at the end of the day. And we know there's a couple other teams that have also managed to move on already, potentially to see the Giants. So I'm going to pull up, first of all, I'm going to pull up the standings on here just to see where everybody stands in terms of the seeding thing right now. So obviously, Nightmare Rotation has moved on 3-0 against Stargirls. Cross Soul beat Alt Dimension 3-0, so they have moved on. So the Giants currently are waiting for a match of their own between Crimsons and Cajun, which is currently going on. But as of everything else, we don't have any other results as of this moment. We know what most of the games are at currently, as we'll go ahead and cut over to the ongoing games. As currently, Extinction Jurassic has brought it back up 2-1 against Glitchmasters. Crimson's currently up 1-0 against Cajuns. And then the Rock's currently up 2-0 on Voidwalker, so we'll have to see what that brings. But obviously, we'll have a lot more of the results as when it comes to these players specifically, at least when it comes to the lower bracket, I'll double check. Yeah, their games are going to continue over on the 5th for the lower bracket. So these days, these teams get a couple of days to kind of get their bearings back together.
Yeah, I mean, this expert division, they are really spacing it out. I mean, the 5th for lower bracket round 1, 7th for lower bracket round 2, 9th for lower bracket round 3, the 12th for lower bracket round 4, 4th, the 14th for lower bracket round 5, and then lower bracket, or the lower finals, I believe would take place on July 16th. So there's you're still 2 weeks away from that lower bracket final here. And I mean, if you're Yoza here now, you have a long road ahead of you, but I mean, I think we saw enough from them tonight that they could potentially make that run. They just need to fix a couple small things here and there, and they should be able to do it.
Yeah, that realistically what should be able to happen with them, because again, they still had really good moments. I think their best map honestly ended up being that last map where I think they put on some of their best appearances. But it's about finding that consistency, and clearly to be able to be top 16, they have a level of consistency that they are able to reach. Their opponent, obviously we don't know who that's going to be yet, but based upon what is said down here, that'll end up being the loser of upper bracket 4, which is the match they were in, which doesn't really add up. If I were to assume who it would be, I would assume it's the loser of Crimson and Cajun, so obviously that's something you'll find out later down the line. But as for at least tonight, we've covered what we have intended to do. So, of course, I want to thank all of y'all for coming out. In terms of when you're going to see us next, honestly, neither of us quite know the answer to that question yet. It's a chaotic week. Obviously, if you have seen the announcements, we have something very big coming up on this coming weekend. But one thing I say for certain, Dex, I think we're in agreement here. South America Grand Finals are happening on Sunday night. There's full intention to cover that and make sure it gets all the glory that it deserves. But, yeah. Dex, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. It's been a long day. We haven't had much of a break. We appreciate all being here. Hopefully, next time we see you, we'll be bringing you some more amazing Faceit League action.